Hi friends, welcome to Beautifully Bookish Bethany. In today's video, I'm going to be tier ranking every single Sarah J Maas book. So I'm not doing this live, I'm recording it and then releasing it live, but StreamYard seemed like the easiest way to do this. So I have created this with every book that Sarah J Maas has put out up through 2024. There are some other ones I found that are a little outdated and I wanted to include everything. I'm doing this because some patrons had suggested it. I'm currently running the Maas Effect Readalong, where I am rereading all of her books, mostly for the first time, and I'm only a couple books in, so I thought it might be interesting to tier rank what I remember of all of her books now and return to this in like a year and a half or so at the end of the read along and see what's changed. So let's do this. I haven't done one of these tier ranking videos before, but I know they're popular. So here we go. So why don't we go ahead and start with the Throne of Glass series. Currently, I've reread the first couple of books. I'm in the middle of the third one. I'm going to tell you that Throne of Glass, the first one, for me, having reread it, it's like good. I like it. I don't love it. It's fine. I mean, it's better than fine. It's like, I mean, maybe could it be an elite? I borrowed these terms from somebody else. I did give it 4 stars. Maybe that means it's elite. I guess we'll put it there. It's definitely a little bit of its time. It's very YA in a way that I think later books in the series are not. But I do think it still has a lot going for it, and I did really enjoy it on my reread. Crown of Midnight I enjoyed slightly less, so this I do think is going to go in the good tier. And these ones I expect to stay the same for the next time I do it, because these ones I've already reread. Assassin's Blade I am currently reading. I am already enjoying it better than the last time. It previously was one of my least favorite books in the series, so we're going to put it in the good category. I think the way that I'm reading it this time, which is after Crown of Midnight but before Heir of Fire, is a better placement. I'm enjoying it more because I think the whole story shifts so much in Heir of Fire that going back to the Assassin's Blade at that point is just kind of a bummer. So I feel like it's more interesting if you read it when you've got the context of the first 2 books, but you haven't sort of flipped into what things are going to be later on. So I'm going to put this in the good category. Heir of Fire, I remember really liking a lot. I'm going to put this in elite. I don't remember all of what happens in Heir of Fire. I want to say this is where we have like a big turning point, and I really liked it a lot. So yeah, I don't remember all the details, but I'm going to say elite category for this. I think I felt similarly about Queen of Shadows as well. So we're going to put that there. I'm so curious when I do the reread to see if this is still how I feel about these books, but based on my memory of reading them a long time ago, this was how I felt about them. I do recall Empire of Storms was a little bit of a slog to get through, if it's what I'm remembering, that parts of it were interesting, parts of it were less so. I'm not sure if I'm remembering right, but that's what I recall. I loved Tower of Dawn. This is an unpopular opinion. I feel like people have a love-hate relationship with this book, either, have very strong feelings about it, but this was my favorite book in the series the first time that I read it. I love Chaol. I loved where this book went. I suspect I might have a little bit of a different experience reading it now, just because I know more about some of the criticisms of ableism in the way that this book goes, but I really, really loved this book, and the romance in it, it was one of my favorites, which is interesting because I know that is not a popular opinion. And then Kingdom of Ash, I have mixed feelings about. I think it is an excellent end to the series. However, I also think it is way too long, and I don't think that writing battle scenes is Sarah's strong point. So I'm going to put this in good. I think it is good as an end of the series, but not my favorite. So this is kind of where the Throne of Glass books are sitting for me. The odd one out here is the Catwoman Soulstealer book. I feel like a lot of people haven't read this. I really enjoyed it quite a lot. I'm putting this in the elite tier. I remember giving this one 5 stars. I wasn't sure what to expect from it because I hadn't seen Sarah write something like this before, anything contemporary that wasn't fantasy. And I mean, it has some speculative elements to it, but I really enjoyed it. So we're putting it there. And then we'll move on to the ACOTAR series. Okay, so this is an interesting thing because I feel like most people have one series of hers that is their favorite. A lot of people, like there are people who are ACOTAR people, that's their favorite. Throne of Glass is just okay. There's people who love Throne of Glass. ACOTAR is just okay. I am a Throne of Glass person. That has always been my favorite series. The ACOTAR series is fine, and I have a favorite that is also an unpopular favorite, so we're going to talk about that. But it's not my favorite series from her. So A Court of Thorns and Roses was good for me. I enjoyed it. It made me want to keep reading. I didn't love it in the way I did Throne of Glass. It was fine. A Court of Mist and Fury, I'm trying to remember because I haven't read these in so long. None of them were favorites for me. I'm going to say I feel like I liked A Court of Mist and Fury better than A Court of Thorns and Roses, though, so I'm going to say elite. And then A Court of Wings and Ruin was good. A Court of Frost and Starlight, I was not a fan of. This is probably my least favorite book from Sarah. It's the only one I'm putting, it's the one I'm putting in the meh category. I was so disappointed by this. I think partly, though, this may have been an expectations issue. This book was sold as a hardcover, and it's just a holiday novella, and it was released in May. For why? Maybe I'll have a better time with it the second time around. I'm really curious to see how I get on with it now that I know what to expect from it. But when I read it the first time, I was so disappointed. This was one of my biggest disappointments from her that I've ever had. And then unpopular opinion, but A Court of Silver Flames is perhaps my favorite book from her. I know people love to hate Nesta, but this meant a lot to me personally in terms of mental health representation and healing, and I loved it. I loved this book. It is also God tier for me. I know a lot of people hate it, but I loved it. So this is where it's sitting for me. I'm interested to see if I love it as much the second time around. So we'll see where that goes. And then Crescent City is elite for me. I really loved Crescent City. This is actually the only book of hers that I have read twice, and I think it holds up really well on a reread. I think I enjoyed it even more the first time. It has some pacing issues, which is why it's not in the God tier, but it is among my favorites from her. And then we had House of Sky and Breath, which was just okay. This was not one of my favorites from her. I thought it was really interesting in terms of the world building and the revelations that we got, but it was disappointing in terms of character stuff. Because what I want from her is these cozy character moments, and if she's going to do sex scenes, I want them to have emotional meaning to them and not feel like they're just there to be sexy. And that was how I felt about House of Sky and Breath. I thought it was disappointing, so it's just okay for me. Even though when I first read it, I was so excited about the ending and what it meant for her larger universe that I probably glossed over some of those issues, but it was definitely more disappointing. And then I really enjoyed House of Flame and Shadow. I liked it a lot. It's a long book. There's a lot that happens in it, and it is one that is especially great for people who love world building and love Easter eggs, which I do. I just enjoy them. So this is going in my elite tier. I'm a little torn, to be honest, if Crescent City should go higher, because I would definitely say I like how Crescent City. I'm calling it how it's because they put it large. House of Earth and Blood. Sorry. But House of Earth and Blood, I do think is my favorite book in that series. I'm interested to see on a reread again if I feel that way after I've reread the entire series. So maybe this goes God tier. I don't know, though. As fun as it is, I don't think it reached the level of Tower of Dawn and Court of Silver Flames. So maybe we still just leave it at elite. So this feels about right to me, and I will say that looking at this, it's obvious to me why I continue to read her books, because I really enjoy them. I know they're not perfect, they have flaws, but they work for me, and some of them I really, really love. Some of them are disappointing, but this is pretty solid if we're looking at the arrangement of it. I feel like people are going to have strong opinions about my placement of everything and whether they agree with me. Feel free to comment down below and let me know where you would put things. Would it be very, very different from mine? I feel like for a lot of people it probably would, but for me, having not reread most of these yet, this is my placement. I will come back and do this again after I've reread all of them, and we'll see if it changes. I think it should be really interesting to see what happens. So talk to me in the comments down below. Let me know any of your thoughts. Let me know where you would put things in these categories. I am a little more than halfway through Assassin's Blade right now, so there's a vlog for that that will be coming soon. And thank you to my patrons for suggesting that I do this. I know I don't have makeup on today, and I'm not going to feel bad about it. I'm going to the gym soon, so just thought we would do this, and it would be fun. Talk to me in the comments down below. Let me know any of your thoughts. If you like this video, it always helps if you give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.